Hello and welcome to Andy's Shed Live. This is Series 16, episode number 11 for Sunday the 6th of October 2024. Hello everybody and welcome to the show. We are here again for this Sunday evening and sun comes around, doesn't it? I just can't get my head around how fast Sunday seems to come around these days. It really does, but it has been a hellish week though this week. Oh, to get to Sunday this week, it's not been nice. It's really not been nice this week. So it's not been great. Hello to everybody who you can see there in the chat as well. If you are joining us on YouTube or on Facebook, you are welcome to join in with the chat. Just type into the chat and it should appear there. Hello to Wesley, Christopher 2000, Dominic is with us as well, Neville's with us, various others are with us as well, have disappeared off the top of the screen already. I'm just reading what everybody's actually writing. Wesley says there's a 713 pendant phone on eBay that ends in a couple of hours, should anyone be interested. Yeah, I've just looked for that, Wesley, can't find it. So I don't know what it's listed under. Dominic says, I recently acquired an original Polaroid SX70, but the ejection mechanism failed halfway through testing it. What is a Polaroid SX70? I'm assuming it's a camera, but I could be wrong. It says there were some very interesting early IC chips involved for a consumer product. Texas Instruments and Fairchild Semiconductors fought for the contract, much like Acorn and Sinclair. Oh, that's interesting. That is interesting. Neville is with us. Evening, Neville. Hi there. And Jeff is with us. He says, hello from, what is it, Rallywood in North Carolina in the USA. Hello there, Jeff, over there in the US. Is it about lunchtime over there? I think it probably is between about 6 and 8 hours behind UK time, normally, you guys, aren't you? So, yeah. And Gambo is with us as well. Obviously not delivering his frozen foods tonight. But he is going via Aldi for some beer. So, yeah. Excellent, Gambo. Yeah, good to see you all. Some of you may have noted that we are still indeed on Odyssey and also on Facebook. I have said that is going to be stopping. We are going to be just on YouTube. Basically, it costs so much to stream to multiple platforms and that. Far more than we make from the Patreon and things. And most people watch it on YouTube, as you can see from the chat. The ones with all with the little red logo at the side, they're all people watching on YouTube. So we've decided really it's just no point streaming to these other platforms because nobody uses them. In a couple of weeks' time we will be back just on YouTube, which I don't think will make a great deal of difference to us, to be honest with you. Jeff says it's GMT +5 here. I think, don't you mean -5, Jeff? Is it daytime? If it was +5, it'd be like 10 o'clock at night or something there. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, it'd be 11 o'clock at night, yeah. I thought the US was behind rather than in front. I could be wrong though. I could be wrong. I'm not very good with time zones and stuff. -5. Oh yeah, he's corrected himself. Yeah, -5. So it's 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, what? So it's 1 o'clock. 1 o'clock. There in the USA. Far more civilized time than if you're 5 hours ahead. Like poor old Christopher who's on here somewhere. He's like, what is it? 12 hours ahead, Christopher, is it? Yeah, he has to get up in the middle of the night to watch this. Yeah, so hello to all our international viewers and things, and welcome. yeah, it's all been happening this week. It's been, like I say, it's been a very messy week this week. Not been my favourite week ever. The dog walking business that I run as a day job has had some problematic clients, shall we say, this week. Not the dogs, but the owners. But yeah, it has been a bit problematic this week. So yeah, I need to de-stress somewhat. Not much has arrived in the telephone world either this week. Not had a massive amount arrive. Oh, Christopher's there. It says it's 5:09 a.m. in Australia, so it's kind of getting up early for the morning, aren't you? There, really, Christopher. There. The only telephone thing that has arrived this week is these, which have rocked up, and these are the little screws and the little springs and the weird little nut thing that fits to the back of a 746. These have turned up this week, and they're interesting, these, because if I open this up like this, get one of these out, they are quite a complex thing. Now that one, I believe, has been put together the wrong way around. If I show you this, there you go. Alright, can I focus that in a bit better? That on yonder screw, right. Excuse my dirty hands, but I've been outside doing stuff today. But there's a little screw, and this little nut thing here, if you look at this little nut thing, it is bigger, the hole is bigger on one side than it is on the other. Don't know if you can see. On that side, the hole is significantly smaller and threaded on that side than it is on that side, I think. Yeah. See, it goes in on that side without actually screwing it in. On that side it doesn't. When you put these together, they should be put together so the side it doesn't push in to is the side you screw in. So it should be that way around, because the screw that you're putting in doesn't have threads all the way to the end. You see, it's gone beyond the thread there, and I can now, that screw now, I can push that in because the screwy bit has gone beyond the thread, and that's what the little spring is for, so you can actually get it back on the threads and screw it out. Okay. But you also end up screwing it in that way, so it should be that way around. And if you lose the spring and just put this into the phone, you can end up with the situation where the screw thready bit, which I can just press out of the end of there if you can see, look, that screw thready bit can go beyond not just this nut but also the bit on the base of the phone that it attaches into, and then you've got no way of getting this screw out because the thread has sort of gone through the threaded bit and out the other side. So you've got no way of getting this out unless it's got the spring on it to help sort of push it out and re-engage on the threads. So if you get these and it's not got the spring on, do not tighten them up, otherwise you'll never get them out again. So that is one thing that we've got this week. There are a load of phones going to be arriving in the next few days though. So next week there'll probably be quite a lot of telephone related stuff to show you by the time we get to we get through to next week. Dominic says the thing that he's got, yes, he says it's a rather interesting folding instant camera from 1972. That's very early for an instant camera, isn't it? I thought instant cameras were a thing of the late 70s. I said about 77, 78 or something like that for the first one. It's very early, 1972. And also, where do you get film for an instant camera these days? Where do you get film for any camera? But of course, instant camera film is quite specialist, isn't it? Yeah. Jeff says it's a polarised nut. Yes, I suppose it is, Jeff. Yeah, it only works one way round. Yeah. But yeah. So I got a bag full of those that arrived this week. So that'll keep me going for a little while. Because the 746ers always lose those. We've got the upside down 746 that we're working on here was missing one. I've put one in it, as you can see there, but that was a missing one. I've still got to find the little metal bit that goes on there. I know I've got a little batch of them somewhere, so you can hang that on there like that. I've got to find this little stainless steel adapter hook thing that fits that on there. But yeah, it's not turned up yet. I know I've got them somewhere, but they'll be in a box at the bottom of a pile of boxes, and it's not one I've got to yet. Gambo says he's put the Canonet on Fleabay, starting time at 7 PM. And regarding film, Dominic says you can't get it easily or cheaply. The more modern 600 type film is slightly easier to find, but you have to modify it to work with the earlier SX70 cameras. I dread to think how much it costs to take a picture with one of those cameras. It was always expensive. Polaroid camera film was always expensive. I dread to think how expensive it is now. Jeff says film for that Polaroid camera can be found on the bay. I don't look. I really don't look. I've got so used to digital cameras now, where basically taking a picture is free effectively. I've got so used to that now that the thought of buying film and having the film process sort of fills me with dread. Yeah, it really does. Although Dominic does take some excellent photos with his cameras, particularly like the black and white photos that he takes and stuff. So yeah, it's interesting, these old cameras. I'm quite surprised how little money cameras fetch, because you'd think they'd be quite collectible for people who are interested, but they don't seem to be. They seem to be available quite cheaply still, cameras. They don't seem to have massively caught on. Or is it very specific to a given type of camera? One thing that has caught on in collecting is clocks. You may see one sort of peeping through down there. You can see that clock down there. That clock has been somewhat problematic. It basically had a spring in it that broke, like one of these, not this one, but it was one very similar to this, and it broke. So I thought, I'll be clever, I'll get another clock movement that is the same, and then use the spring out of it. Well, I got this movement, and the spring that I wanted, which was that one that fits there, was missing. But I thought, well, I'll use one of the other two, and this one is this one here. But guess what? The other two on this, that one and that one, are a slightly different sized barrel to the missing one. So I've got one with teeth broke for that barrel, and then I've got another movement that's not got that barrel at all fitted to it. So I'm still missing that barrel for this clock. And all it says on it, when you want to know who's made it, all it says on it is foreign. And we believe they're German, but not entirely sure. And I've got two very similar movements now, neither of which work. Although there is another batch of clock movements coming to me this week that hopefully has got a movement with a barrel that is the right size. But what I wanted to show you was this, that I took out of one of these clock movements that I've got. Look at the state of that in there. It's all rusty and horrible. And I think what's happened is this movement has been put in clock cleaning fluid without being disassembled. So the solution, because you dilute clock cleaning fluid with water normally, the solution has got inside this barrel and it's never dried out, and it started to rust away at the spring inside the barrel, which is probably why the spring broke. So if you are cleaning a clock, don't be tempted, as some people say, don't be tempted just to dunk the whole thing in clock cleaning fluid, because the water could well stay in the barrels and do some damage. So you really do need to at least take the spring barrels out, because that one, the spring in that, is damaged. Luckily this barrel has got away with all its teeth intact, so I'll be able to get that spring out, and then get a new spring, and we'll be able to fix this barrel. But the question is, when you've not got anything left on the end of the spring, you know, there's no little thing to hook it onto or anything, how do you safely get that spring out of there without it going ping and flying everywhere and taking your eye out? How do you safely get that spring out of there? Anybody with any ideas, let me know. I would be intrigued to hear what you have to say on the subject. Dominic says black and white film in bulk works out fairly cheap if you develop it yourself. I tried developing some colour slide film once. There was a kit you could buy to develop your own colour slide film, and it never worked right. They always came out with a weird coloured cast on them. They never came out the right colours when I tried that. So it's a lot of years ago now, and thought, oh, develop my own colour slide film and that, and yeah, it was never successful. I'm hoping black and white film is possibly a little bit easier to to develop than that colour slide stuff was. Christopher says, I've got an old 1990s 8mm camera. It don't work when I got it, but I got it working. All it needed was a new battery cell, and it works. Excellent. That'll be a movie camera if it's 8mm, won't it? It's Super 8, something like that. Yeah, I've got one of those somewhere as well. You used to use one of those. Didn't use it for very long though, because again the film was mega expensive. This is one thing where it's really come on, you know, sort of recording pictures and video and that the cost of it has gone, well, it's gone down to nothing basically, hasn't it? Yeah, it's really changed. That has, but yeah, it was. It used to be expensive. I have still got some Super 8mm film somewhere. I ought to check. I ought to get it converted, really, didn't I? Yeah. So here's the other clock movement. This one is a bit cleaner because this is the one that got dumped in clock cleaning fluid. So this is the other very similar movement, and as you can see, it's got a barrel. Oops. No, that's moved. No, that's not good. I've got it in the right place now. As you can see, this one has also got a barrel missing. So, yeah. And I think I need to take this barrel out as well, out of the middle one here, this one. Because I think that spring is broken. Because I can wind it up so far, then it goes ting and winds back and unwinds again. So I think there's a break in the spring in that. I think. So might have to take that one out as well. So yeah, not having much luck at the minute with things. Yeah, lots of things are breaking and stuff at the moment. Yeah, it's just been one of them weeks, like I say. It's been, you know, you have them weeks where everything seems to go wrong. It's been one of those this week. It really has. Chris said, Andy, did you get the photo of my old film poster that I got? I've not seen it, Christopher, but it doesn't mean I've not got it. Because it may be in the stack of emails waiting for me to open it. I'll have a look in a minute. Dominic says, black and white film is much easier to process. You're supposed to do it at 20 degrees C, but it's quite tolerant with the processing temperature. Slide film is very sensitive to temperature. It has to be within 1C at most. I did not know that. Maybe that's where I went wrong. It said, but it has to be ideally between plus and minus 0.3 Celsius from 38 Celsius. Now, it was never that hot when I did it. No, they never told me that. Christopher says he tested his 8mm camera filming the Red Rattler trains and it works. Excellent. Right, so black and white film is much easier, is it? It's much easier just to take a picture on your phone though, and then go into Photoshop or something and just turn the saturation down in it. That's yeah, that's much easier to make it black and white that way, I reckon. Yeah, that's what I think anyway. But yeah, if you get sort of go, and I don't know if I can do it on here. Yeah, you see, I can make things black and white. I too can be all arty and go all black and white and stuff. I better put that back on now. I wonder what I've done to the settings. But yeah. There you go. It's back in colour again now. Yes. Where are we? That's that. Oh, hang on. And a bit of finger trouble. There we go. See, I'm pressing the wrong buttons and everything. It's really not working at all today. Dominic says Andy Shed Noir. Yeah. Yeah, we ought to do it in black and white one day, didn't we? just to confuse people. But, I had an elderly relative who used to watch the snooker on the telly, on a black and white telly. And when I asked her how she knew what snooker balls were what, she said the guesswork added to the fun. So, but yeah, how can you watch snooker on television? It's the most boring game. Sorry for any snooker players out there, but my God, it's so boring. It's almost cricket. And then to watch it in black and white as well, yeah, words just fail me. Yeah, I don't know how you cope with it. Anyway, you'll be pleased to Steve Davis. What about Steve Davis? Yeah, you'll be pleased to know that that all the stuff that we got going last week, mainly my revelation down here, the PABX that connects all the phones together here, is still working. It's all the lines on it that are still working as they should. It's not gone belly up again, because I managed to accidentally put one of the extensions on to do not disturb, and then wondered why I couldn't ring into it. But thanks to Wesley and Co, we managed to get that sorted out last week, and it stayed sorted. So hopefully we're back to 100% now. People have been asking me about CNET as well. CNET will be coming back online soon. I've had communication with the guy that runs CNET in the UK, and basically they're having a bit of an update. So hopefully we'll have the CNET servers back up soon. So those of you that have got telephone numbers on CNET via an ATA, hopefully they will all start working again soon for you. So we should be back in business with CNET fairly soon. But I've just been trying to sort through a few things this week, and yeah, we've got all sorts. Another red telephone turned up the other day. This one came out of a local antique centre for a tenner the other day. This one. What's the dial like on it? Sluggish is the simple answer. So this one needs a coat of looking at. So we might take that apart and have a little look at that. We've also still got the non-working trim phone here. The push button trim phone. I'm not going to get it out of the box, mainly because it's stuck in there. But the push button trim phone that doesn't work is still here. And it doesn't work because it just doesn't work. I don't know. There's something on the circuit board that's gone wrong with it. But I'm hoping that's a 9-button trim phone. Or no, 10-button trim phone. Sorry. That is a 10-button trim phone. I'm hoping this week to be getting a 12-button trim phone, and that is something that has been missing from the collection here for a while. Yeah, now it's probably going to arrive in bits, but we'll have a go at putting it back together and see where we end up. But yeah, there's all sorts here. What else have we got down here? Yeah. Oh, we've got a black wall phone there. You see, I just don't know what we've got. I never quite know what arrived and what hasn't. What have we got in this lot down here? We've got the American part of the American collection down here, including the still being restored Princess that arrived sort of pink, or mostly pink, although some of the paint was coming off. I'm still working on getting it back to this more sort of beigey colour, which is what it was originally. That's what colour the actual plastic of it is. What else have we got down here? Oh, we've got a green foam down there. I've also got here this blue foam with a big hole in the front that needs something doing with it. I might have a go at this next week. See if we can do something with the old acetone putty sort of thing to fill that hole in next week. Might have a go at that. I keep forgetting it's there. I might even dust it as well before next week, you never know. What else have I got in this box down here? A reasonably nice green 706, but something's happened to this, because if I put it down there and can show you on here, if you have a look at that, you'll see that where the bezel fits, some of the paint's come off the back. So I'm not entirely sure what's happened to it. It's one we could do with finding out what's happened. So I kind of need to get this finger wheel off to have a look. So what we will do is put a thing under there like that, and twist it like that. It pops that off. You can then get the dial label out, and I'm fairly convinced that's a Repro one. Then we need to take out the central screw, and then the finger wheel comes off. Yeah, and then that little clippy thing comes off. Then we need to take out these two screws, which should be retained, these screws. Then I should be able to get the case off. And that has entirely fallen off, look, and you can see it's left some of the paint behind on there. So if I could match that up, we'd get most of that back where it should be, because what's obviously happened here is this has not been properly mounted into the phone, because there's no metal mounting thing inside. So what they've done, and it's ruined this bezel really, somebody has glued this on to here, and the paint has let go, which means that has remained glued on there. But the rest of it has stayed with the rest of the phone. So what's the way to deal with this? Well, to make this bezel kind of complete again, perhaps the best way to deal with this in this particular case would be to glue this on. So it would sit in the right place on here. Perhaps that would be the best way to do it, because I can't think of another way of saving this bezel. Seems not a very good solution, the way it is at the moment. So yeah, I'm considering that as to what would be the best thing to do with that. But it's a great shame, because inside the phone is absolutely immaculate, look. But, you know, you so often open these up and they're full of spiders and things, but this one is absolutely pristine on the inside. Absolutely pristine. It does, though, look like it has been converted for plug and socket, at least partially converted. But yeah, it's so clean on the inside, this phone. Can't get over it. But yeah, but the bezel is a problem on this one, because the bezel has not been correctly fitted. I've got a metal bit to show you what should be there. Have I got one handy? Normally got hundreds of them kicking about, just because I want one. I don't think I've got one here, just because I want one. So yeah, the bezel on this is going to be a bit of a problem. So whether I actually glue it on so those things line up properly, is a very, very good question. If I glued it up something like that. But the thing is, that would actually be not in the right place if I glued it on. It will be not in the right place for the cutout here, because if I line the cutout for the finger stop up around there and put my thumb in that to line it up, there is then no way you can line any of this up to be in the right place. So when they've glued it on, they've actually glued it not quite in the right place. So I think this bezel is probably terminal. Do need to find a way of repainting the backs of these. Do need to find a way of doing it, because it is such a shame. But there you go, such is life. I don't know if I've got any spare green ones. Strange, I've got a few spare red ones now. think red ones are one of the rarest, but I've got a few red ones now. But, yeah, you see, you can't, when that is in the right place, you can't actually line it up with the old painted bits to go where it should go, so it is a bit of a mess, that. So yeah, so that probably needs a replacement bezel, and these back painted bezels are getting very, very hard to find. You know, they're like gold dust, they really are. But we need one for this, we definitely do. One will turn up somewhere along the line. These things do, you just have to wait, and they do eventually arrive. You know, you do eventually find the bits, but sometimes it takes weeks, months, maybe even years occasionally, but you do get the bits in the end. But I would like to find a way of redoing these bezels, because it's a thing. Oh, I've put that back on without putting the little springy thing on. Yeah, it's the bezels are a bit of a pain. They really are. Here's my little springy thing. It only goes one way. Got the shape of it. That's it. There. That's more like it. Fit that. And the screw. Countersunk screw. I think they're all countersunk on these early finger wheels. And that again. And just clip that in again. And there we go. Put it all back together for now. What are people up to in the old chat? Bill says, I've got two green 706s. He says, looks like a replacement finger wheel. No, that's the right one, Bills. That finger wheel is correct. That is how they fade over time. The original finger wheels do go funny colour over time. But yeah, that's how you'd expect to find one. If you've got one that matches the case, that's suspect, because they do sort of go white over time, as do the yellow ones. They you know, see how this has got like a white hue on it? The yellow ones actually go completely white over time. But I mean, it works. It's a nice smooth dial, that. Yeah, it's really nice and smooth, that one. It's just a shame about this, because you can't actually... Oh, what have I done there? Oh, I know what I've done. Yeah, I've moved that underneath the... I've managed to move it round, because the dial isn't flat as it should be. I've managed to move the bezel around underneath the finger stop. So I've sort of improved it a bit, but it's not entirely right still. But yeah, need to have a look at that. What else have I got in this box of bits down here? Oh, there's a trim phone in it. A blue trim phone. I wonder if this trim phone works. We'll find out in a minute. A blue trim phone with the switch, which you don't see on many trim phones. But yeah. And this trim phone also has a plug on it. Not an original thing, but it's got one fitted. Shall we see if it works? One is suitably intrigued as to if this is going to work or not. Hang on. That's not the right wire. Just getting a cable from down there. I'll plug that in. Right. Shall we see now if the old trim phone works? Oh, well, I've got a dial tone on it.